they're presented, please. Give everybody a chance to look over them. And then if someone wants
I
to make a
didn't see
motion to
anything,
accept
so I'll
them.
move to accept as written.
Perfect. Is there a second to accept the minutes?
I'll second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to accept the minutes as they're presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you very much. All right, let's go into the review of October financials. Are you up now?
I am. So it looks like we had $9,237.66 of income coming in, and this is from the parade registrations. I can tell y'all at the end of the month, once we start cutting checks for the awards, it'll be gone. But at least we made enough to cover the
Exactly,
awards. So
yeah.
we did good. We did really well. On the statement of financial position, it does say under the money market account that's 99. It is actually $78,793.36. We're still trying to get that adjusted down to the correct dollar amount. With all the activities last month, we really didn't go in and be able, we had somebody come in from QuickBooks, show us exactly how it used to be way over. We were at like 30,000, 33,000. We're a little bit now, we're at 20. So we've adjusted it correctly. So if you look at the statement, it is correct at $78,793.36. We will continue to work to adjust that to be correct on there. The money market account is correct. We do have that in there with the interest rates, and that's not bad since we just moved that 100,000 over. What was it, March? Maybe April. I can't remember. I know it was after February when I started that we were able to move that over, but we do, what we were doing, we were heading in the right direction, and once we had somebody come in to help us with the QuickBooks, we know we're doing it right. It's just taking a little bit of time.
That 78 you were referencing, I'm having trouble finding it on any of the statements.
It's not on there.
Okay.
It'll tell you here that it's 99,
Yes.
and that's wrong.
Oh, that's where it's supposed to be, the 78. Can you give me the exact amount?
$78,793.36. So the difference is $20,787.86. And we will work on that this coming month to get that adjusted correctly.
Okay, excellent.
The 78,000 is what we show or the bank shows?
What the bank shows.
Bank shows.
QuickBooks shows the 99.
99.
You know what the difference is?
$20,000.
The difference between-
$787. So, and we were at like 33, and every month that we were entering, we were getting larger and larger. So we're actually going
Was
in
there a
the
bigger discrepancy every month?
Yeah, every month that we would enter checks, because that has something to do with how you enter it. It would enter it twice almost. So it's crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when you turn it in as a pledge and then you actually got the money and attached it, it would double it.
Yep.
Oh,
And you found a way around that, because that's one of the things that we talked about a couple of months ago, was finding
Yeah, it
help
took a
that
while
made
to get
sense.
it, but I think she got help from Help Desk. We thought we were on the right way, and then we had Anthony refer somebody to come in and do a little bit of looking at it in tutorials, and it agreed with us that we were in the right direction, so we'll finish it off.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. All right, new business, Starbright Casita Village.
That one is going really well. The Casita Village, is going Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Every day we try to have a different event. Depending on the temperature outside and what is going on, it is sort of crazy. Last week, we don't know why, but Thursday was the big day. Friday was okay, and Saturday was so cold nobody was out. Like even the vendors were packing up. And most of the time I had already thought about it. I'm like, we did this next year, no Thursday. We'll just do Friday and then Saturday. That's good. Thursday was the big day. Like, so it just sort of depends. And I sort of think it was because they had the tree lighting at McKinney Park.
I agree.
So as people were going out there, coming back, they would see it and maybe they would stop by. It's the only thing I could think of.
I think that you're exactly right.
That's the only thing I could think of on that one. The tree lot, they're out of trees. So not necessarily because they did well in our Odessa market, but they did really well in Midland. So
You know how many trees they sold here at the casitas, by chance?
a weekend, maybe 3 to 5.
Oh, wow.
I bought one on Thursday, or a couple Thursdays ago, and he said I was the only one
Yeah.
that day.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's crazy.
he's really excited. He said, this doesn't mean I don't want to come back next year. We got to revamp what they bring a little bit. He said that maybe the size of trees were too large for the households here, or they're just rethinking it. But he's like, I want to be back next year. So it's sort of crazy. He was really excited. I got a wreath because I don't have room for a tree in my house, but it's old. Some people really like them. Some people would just not used to having a real tree in their house,
Yeah.
and that's a different mentality, really.
Is there,
It
I
is.
don't know how Midland does it, but I know with Parks Legato, they partner to have it as a fundraiser.
Yeah.
And if he could up his price 10% and then donate 10% from every tree to OHS band,
Yeah, and I might be.
Parks Legato's Permian's band, we could pick something on this side of town. I don't know,
Permian's
just as an incentive, and then you've got a built-in
Yeah.
audience.
No, that's a good idea. But he has expressed that they want to be back next year.
Good.
So
He's just gonna redesign.
yeah. So we'll look at that moving forward. And as far as the grants, we are still waiting to meet for that 413 East 8th Street. Melanie had the flu, so she was not able to meet last week, and I'm just waiting for her to reply back to see what day she's available so that I can have somebody come with us. That's a new one on 8th. That has not been reviewed at all.
Which one is that one?
The one on 8th, it's 413 East 8th Street. I have everything ready to go. It's just we haven't been able to meet with ODC.
What building is it?
Which one? Where's that one at?
It is on 8th Street. It is a white building that has, I think it's 2 or 3 different shops.
Did y'all say
Is
that was
that-
Ramirez
Oh,
old
so
shop?
that's where the boot shop was.
Is that the
Did
boot
we go out
shop?
that far?
Oh, that's why.
Yeah, we go to
10th and then
We go to
to
Adams.
right?
Yeah, we go all the way to
Yeah.
10th Street, so we fall on 8th Street. We're still
Okay,
within the
that's-
boundaries. It's not going to be at the 50%, it's going to be at the 70%. It's that second tier.
The second tier. Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, but that's why I haven't contacted. I know Anthony had said that he'd be willing to sit in, but I just wasn't able to because she got sick. And then for the weekend, nobody called me.
Right.
Gotcha.
Okay, old business, Parade of Lights.
Parade of Lights went really well for us. I don't know how many were here or not, but
Good or bad?
we
All
had
good.
about 3 that called
No,
and dropped
3%.
out prior to the day, and we had, I think, 4 or 5 that didn't show up that day. But other than that, we had over 80 entries, and I don't know. I think it was one of the best decorated entries. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
because we kept telling them it was going to be smaller. I don't know what it was, but we kept telling them we were limiting from it, and they were really, really
It
awesome.
was-
I've only heard positive. I mean, that's it.
That was real. The only thing, there was some big gaps still. A lot of people would get up because they think it was over and start walking off. Then another group of cars would come and then they'd sit back down.
One of the big errors that we had at the very beginning was the Permian band actually got in front of some of the dignitaries, so we had gaps in that because there was just a mistake in when they were going. So the poor mayor, he had Christmas music and nobody heard it because of the band. Because I said, "How was your Bluetooth? Did it work?" He goes, "We couldn't. The band was." I was like, "Oh my gosh." I missed that. We were still trying to get everything lined up and ready to go.
Everything I've heard.
But it was bad. I'm like, I'm so sorry. But the band director from ECISD apologized for that. He's like, I don't know how they just took off and we couldn't grab them back.
They were excited.
They were excited.
They
were
were
excited
excited
to
and they
go.
just took off. And so he emailed me and he apologized. But other than that, I think we did really well. I was scared a little bit with the snow machines. I thought it was great. They were great. And then I started thinking, I may not have a job on Monday because if the kids run out there to try to touch it. I didn't
it
think
was
that. But nobody else,
It was.
it seems like it was good. We had a lot of patrol out there.
Yeah.
And so everything was good. It just sort of,
Yeah, she
I
was
panicked
making-
for a few minutes. Like,
She
oh
was
my
making
gosh.
sure people were off the street. She was taking care of things out there.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
she was doing good.
So those were
Excellent.
really nice when they came around the corner, especially in front of the judges. They would let that snow go. It was,
Sure, of course.
It was really pretty.
It was really
I got-
Elizabeth, can I, I'm sorry, back up a page just for a second. I was gonna ask, for the Starbright Casitas, since that was the first time, do you have kind of an exit comment card that you can give the
that's a good
vendors
idea.
to see what type of feedback they were happy?
I'm
what
sure
were
we
they looking
can do that,
for?
but I don't have the list of vendors because it's a third party
Okay.
that is actually taking care of the vendors at this event.
Really?
But it'd be interesting insight.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think she would be willing to
I think she would be willing to as
help
well.
with that.
I just would have to, it would have to go through her. I can ask her.
Okay.
Well, that would just be a positive for her as well, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no downside to it.
My only comment on the villages, if we're going back there, I didn't like that they had generators in there.
They had to have them.
Well, only the casitas have electricity, and it's hard to provide electricity. And so, do you mean like the middle ones with
Yeah.
the tents? You don't like the generators?
Surely there's some way we can get power to them.
Well, maybe so. I mean, a
Alright.
different layout to it.
And they should be draped, but we talked about that.
And they should be what?
Draped. The inside looks like a shed.
Yeah.
They could have done draping and
Oh, it could just
Make-
be painted white. Yeah, these were
I
got
know.
done in less than
Listen,
30 days. So
I said this
But
is
those
did
casitas
amazing.
landed on you at a
Yeah,
last minute deal too.
Very
though.
much.
I mean, I don't think it was one that we discussed that anybody said this is what's going to happen. It was just one of those. Here, this is what we want. Make it happen. And you had a minimum amount of time to do all of that.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of the building services is the one that actually built the 12. So they did a phenomenal job for everybody because I don't know how they did it. One day I picked a day on the 15th. I said, I'm putting a fence up the 15th, and that's when y'all have to make them. And we got 6 the 15th, and we got 6 on the 16th. So they met it. I don't know how either. Probably because they didn't paint the inside. But other than that, yeah, there are little things that need to be tweaked if
Little
we're
tweaks.
going to be.
I will go back to parade, and I talked to you about it. I think that if we stay in the streets, then we need to clean up because it was a mess back there when I left.
We hired the litter busters for it. I need to go back and talk to KOB and see if they only did Grant and not
Yeah.
the streets behind OC. We had tried to get kids from what is it called? Texas Scholars. They were supposed to come in and help us with that part, but at the end of the day, they don't show up. It's
Yeah.
hard.
But even
That
that, the way
happens
we
a
were
lot.
lined up, if the street sweepers had gone just through those little back streets, it would have been.
Yeah, and I'm having a meeting with them tomorrow, so I'll make
Yeah.
sure to add that.
And the judges didn't get our pizza.
No, I was starving the whole time. I'm just kidding.
No, I did not.
I'm just kidding.
was she supposed to get you pizza?
I don't know. He
I
said
guess
we
our
were.
perks have
He
changed.
said we were. I don't know.
I saw
Yeah.
Elizabeth handing out pizza on Grant.
Ooh.
Come on.
I was like, if they want pizza, they can go inside and get it.
I
were
wasn't
like
getting off
3
that
feet
trailer.
away.
They expected you to bring it and bow.
Yes.
As you
Yeah,
present
I
it.
don't do the valley.
Just the pizza would have been a
Just
no,
the
I'm
pizza.
kidding. I'm just kidding.
All right, the grants.
Yes.
We are held up on these grants right now. We've gone to ODC for the first, and they approved them. We are waiting for the lawyer from ODC's party to rewrite the contract. The infrastructure grants are good to go. They do not agree with the facade grants. So we are on hold until they go back and rewrite that contract on these 3. And it's just on the facade.
What do they not like about it?
It has something to do with the code where it's getting funded out of. They feel like it should be funded out of an account that where the infrastructure is coming from. The city said no, it's a different fund because facade is not infrastructure, but their lawyer's not agreeing with that. They had a meeting yesterday, a Zoom meeting. Their lawyer with city lawyer, and they've agreed that they want to rewrite the whole thing. So until we get that, I think at this point, probably in January, maybe early February, we'll get these pushed through all the way.
Oh, wow.
So that's where we're at. And it's not the infrastructure grants, it's the facade ones.
So is there any way to push
On
and
the budget.
pass on the infrastructure? I mean, some of these downtown people or like infrastructure, whatever, they have a building, they're paying mortgages or
I
they're
can tell
paying
you,
rent on a building.
we
that
have
they
a
can't
ODC
touch.
meeting on Thursday. I can do that if y'all want me to, but they've also, ODC has agreed that they will honor any work that has been done since the application. So if they want to go ahead and start working on it, it'll be honored.
Yeah, cause that's the whole deal is if we touch it, we lose our grant.
Yes. And
So-
I made
But
that,
that's not an issue if they've vowed to honor.
if they've
If-
out, yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
That's
As
where
long
we're
as-
in the process of that. And I just got that news yesterday afternoon. So I'll make contact with everybody this week and see if they want to go ahead and start.
Yes, sir. Would you like me to touch on that? Yes, sir.
Please. I didn't see his hand up, sorry.
Yeah.
Chris Crow, ODC. So yes, as Elizabeth pointed out, there are looking at changing those grant applications, and one of the main things in that is the wording that would allow the developers to go ahead and start and have guarantees that once the application has been filed, then we would guarantee their money, as opposed to having to wait till the application has actually been approved and granted.
Yes.
Do you see what I'm saying? So
Yes.
hopefully give them a little more fuzzy feelings. I can understand them don't want to start work and getting halfway through a project and all of a sudden it get pulled back out from under it. And that is not ODC, that is not the city's intention at all. This is all a legal wording in the contract issue is all it is. I was just trying to clean up that contract and make sure that it's abundantly clear moving forward. So, for those grants that are already there for the coffee house and for the other two projects that are there, because I think we have 3 infrastructure and 2 facade.
I know.
I have those backwards.
Yes, that's what.
But
Yeah, 'cause
it's
3 infrastructure.
2 facade. So, it's. they- Well, and again, they've already been approved by us. They just got to go to city council for final approval. It's just on recommendation of the ODC attorney that specializes in economic development grants and the wording and kind of how this funding is structured. He's recommended that we change those. So he's working closely with Dan and Tina to get that done. So it's just kind of cleaned up. We have offered, if need be, I'm willing to call a special meeting of ODC with that one thing on the agenda to get that done if we have to. We're thinking just because of the way the holidays are playing in and New Year's and whatever, it would, by the time it all gets done anyway,
Yeah.
it's
People
like,
take off, yes.
yeah, I mean, and attorneys anyway don't necessarily be known for moving the fastest. We think that by our January 11th meeting date, we should have it all cleaned up. But worst case scenario, if we had to, we have offered that we need to have a special meeting to get that done. As long as the attorneys have their work done, ODC is more than willing to come in and do a special meeting just to get that done.
So there is the option if somebody wants to get started, y'all could have that meeting for them to go ahead and get started until
As
everything.
long as the attorneys have the contracts cleaned up.
Okay.
That's the hinge point.
That's
We're
yeah.
waiting on the lawyers. If the lawyers have everything done in those contracts, as soon as they have it done, we're more than willing to meet to get that wording done so that the developers feel comfortable with going ahead and moving
Moving
forward.
forward.
But everything's hinging on the time frame and how long it takes the attorneys to get the contracts cleaned up.
Yeah, cause that's the only issue that we've been running into on that. It takes so long to get it done. I mean, we're looking, I think we turned in we're looking at 4 months so far that we've turned in applications and it's still like crickets. I mean, it just takes, some of them, they own the building, some of them, they're leasing the building. So once they lease that building to start doing their stuff, I mean, that's when it comes in where they're paying monthly and they're waiting 4 to 5 months to even get the approval to be able to get started. And of course, the main deal, like you said, is once the building cannot be touched until it's a final approval or they have the chance of losing the contract, the grant, I'm sorry. So
That's
is
one
there
of the things
something?
we're trying to clean up
Yeah.
in that contract language so we don't have that
Have
problem
to
moving
wait, yes, sir.
forward. And ODC is very cognizant of the developers and having to wait and the cost of money and time and interest and all of those things, so we're willing to speed that up.
Okay.
But they're trying to make the grant contract match the city ordinance contracts, so that again, it's really for protection of the developers, of the property owners, in addition to the city. So just to make sure there are no misunderstandings and everything's clean moving forward.
Okay. Any
We're
other
good.
questions?
You're on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Is there any way that you can reach out to them just before Christmas and see if they're on track?
We're maintaining it. We're in constant contact. Our attorney was also going to be here in January in person, but that's the primary thing that our attorney's working on right now is getting these contracts cleaned up.
Okay, thank you. All right, any more comments about the grants? All right, then we're gonna move on to item 5, 2023 event update discussion, the ODTX Downtown Market.
The last one out of this series was actually held on December 2nd, which was from 1 to 5. We have not agreed to move forward with them moving into the next year. That's probably going to take a meeting between all the partners to see if we're going to do that or not. But other than that, we had 3 with them. The last one was in December. First Fridays, we are still moving forward with that. That's every first Friday with Odessa Arts, and that one's going really well. It seems like it's catching on a little bit more and more every time. During this First Fridays, we actually helped sponsor the Letters to Santa. We could not get the Rose Building because they were booked, so we moved it into Copper Keys Garage, and we did drape it, and we decorated, and we had kids come in. We had Casa of the Permian Basin come in, and they helped with taking care of the letters. We had Mac Jack that donated the supplies, and then we had United Supermarket that actually donated the cookies. So it was a true partnered event from the community to get these going. But we had people come in. They had their kids ready to go with Santa, and it was nice. We also helped with the silent disco that was out there, which is, if y'all have never been to one of those, y'all really need to try that.
Silent disco?
Silent disco. They have 3 different DJs out there. They give you a headset, and you can change channels, and everybody's out there listening to music on their own, but sort of like bebopping along. And it's sort of funny to watch it because this one might be rap, that one might be country, that one is disco, and everybody's just sort of dancing along together. But no, it's not loud. You can't hear it other than in your ears. So if y'all ever have a chance for that, that's really neat. And then as far as lowriders and the tacos and tequila, those are just dates that they have told me after the events this year that they wanted to go ahead and hold, but I have not met with them. Probably start talking to them in January about that. And the downtown egg hunt, I know last year we had them for 3 days, all day long, and the businesses loved it and hated it at the same time because they were bombarded by thousands of people every day. So I'm thinking maybe 2 days and just the afternoons on this one and see how that goes. Any suggestions, especially with y'all that have businesses downtown?
What a horrible complaint. We had thousands of people come in our businesses.
I'll tell you, we weren't complaining. Looking forward to it.
My biggest complaint was the children that didn't go to school because they were coming to collect eggs. That bothered me a little bit.
Yeah,
They
you're
were
not the only
homeschooled, you didn't
vendor out
know.
there to say that.
I didn't love that. And I mean, I'm not going to not give them an egg when they come in.
No, it just
So,
bothered you.
yeah.
I've heard that from other vendors. There's
Yeah.
some that bothered.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great event. We actually
was
had,
fabulous.
60,000 eggs and ran out in 2 days. I mean, it was crazy, but I want to take the input of the businesses, and I know some of them said that it was just a lot all day long where they had to take somebody off their regular schedule
Their
just
duties.
to hand out
We
the
did that.
eggs.
Yep.
Yeah. And so not every
But we
bit, they
planned
want to
for that.
participate, but maybe not that many hours. So I'm looking at 2 days and just for a few hours every day.
Perfect.
Treats on the street.
That one went really well for us. I think the only thing that we talked about last time, and just to review, we had over 5,000 kids out because we gave giveaways of about 6,000 from my estimate, and it might be fall short just because we had other events throughout the city in the prior 2 weeks prior to that, and any leftover candy they brought it to us that day. So we had code enforcement bring us candy. And so what I sort of had estimated was probably more than that we actually handed out. But I would safely say about 6,000 kids were out and giveaways were given. I know Bradley had said that he feels that it would be better to shut down the streets for a couple hours because of how many kids
Chaotic.
were out there.
Yeah.
What is your idea for the time frame of shutting down the streets?
I mean, I didn't have a particular time. I mean, just whatever we're allowed to you know, as long as we can, and for at least a small amount of time, because
On
way too many
Grant.
kids to be on the sidewalk and in and out of these businesses and keeping.
Overall public safety.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just an accident waiting to happen. It hasn't happened, but I know they mentioned in years past it hasn't been this much participation
Right.
or that many people, so maybe that was a little bit of it as well. But hopefully these are the things that we're working on, you know, to
Growing.
continue to be bigger and only get bigger and better every year, all these different events.
With it being a state highway, I think the max we can shut down is 4 hours without going to the state and asking for extra time.
I think 4 hours.
Which would be
4 hours
plenty.
should
I
be-
think
That would be
it'd
Oh,
Quite
that'd be
So I don't think
plenty,
that would be
yeah.
an issue.
Quite sufficient.
The only thing is working on how it started an hour before we were supposed to start. You know, so if we're gonna shut the street down at 4, but we got people there at 3, then we can't be
Well,
responsible for everything up until 4.
You know,
You know, it's,
That's the county's fault.
that was the county's.
oh, that was the health department that
No,
started. I
they
mean, the
wanted to
courthouse, right?
participate with us that day,
It was a
but
courthouse.
they were
Courthouse,
only
courthouse.
going, they weren't going to extend their pay day, their hours. So they
So they
started
started
an hour
early.
early.
Yes.
So what happened is they went through all the floors of the county and then they were ready to hit
Yeah.
the regular businesses. And so it has to do with that.
Are you gonna have a conversation with them about that
Yeah, we
specific-
can definitely talk about that as well.
Because it's going to happen again if they plan to do it the same way.
right.
Yes. And it looks bad because we weren't ready, because we were gonna do it at 4 and they walked by and our doors are locked. It's like,
Oh,
you know, you're on the list, you're not participating, your door's locked, and that's not what it was. It's just we
They
were
were
waiting for 4
scheduled.
o'clock.
No, we were the same way. We were still putting up, what are those called? Inflatables and stuff
Yeah.
like that and getting everything going when they started coming out. So I feel the same way. The hardest part about closing down the streets is getting a lot of the cars out of the footprint as well.
yes.
Because you have people that are in the footprint when you're locked, you shut down the streets
They're stuck.
and they're stuck.
Yeah.
And so that is something that we may have to just look at that a little bit closer, or maybe work on blocking off just a certain block or a street that is not primarily on Grant, and maybe have the businesses come out and set up in tents or something like that. I don't know.
And I think that's probably what we'll do this coming year is do it outside.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
'Cause it was
there's a lot of
thousands
revamping.
walking through the doors, and it's crowded. It was.
Do you
okay.
think tents would be better then? Do you think an
I
idea
think-
like
We
that
didn't
would
even
be-
put up tents, to be honest. We
Yeah,
were
I
just
mean,
out
we
in
could
parking
put
lots
a
and it
table.
was
I just put a
packed.
table, right?
We had a tent too.
Yeah, but you could put a table outside and have the kids walk right up to it.
Yeah, it was easier traffic to keep it moving, and
Yeah.
especially like the smaller businesses, just getting in and out of that door, and you got all these strollers. That's why I think too, with
Yes.
blocking off the
Strollers.
street, it will give some more lenience from the side. You know, obviously that hopefully that would help them to sit out outside as well. But just strollers, kids, indoors, in and out. It's
Then you
not
had
very much
the ones that had those big inflatable dinosaurs, and they're trying to
Yes.
Did they, were they wearing them and trying
Yeah.
to, oh my.
Yeah, they wear 'em.
Yeah, they were, that's really cute. I'm just trying to envision them, trying to get in the door.
And if you see in our
Trying to
office,
be
my wife
productive.
has it like Hobby Lobby, so it's kind of like everything's breakable. Like, yeah, we're going outside.
Do you think most of the other vendors would feel the same way? Do you think they would be hesitant, or do you think they would be,
Well, I guess it
Got it.
would just be, do you want? If you want, you can have it outside, and if you don't, just leave it the way it is. Just an optional thing.
I think a
Well,
bigger
but if
option
you
to
move
do it
it-
in the, yeah.
Yeah.
but if you shut down only certain streets, wouldn't you need everybody to move? Do you see what I'm saying? If you're shutting down and not Grant, but you talked about shutting down another street.
Yeah, it would have to be Grant. A lot of the businesses basically.
Or Fifth all the way to the park or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's
I mean,
more of promoting your business at the same time by doing all that, so you
That's the
can't
whole purpose.
That's the
move
whole
away.
purpose
Yeah,
of that.
so it has
That
to
is the
be just
purpose.
outside of your business.
Well, then you would have to shut down
Have
Grant.
to.
That's
We would
the
have
only
to,
option.
Yeah, it'd have to be Grant.
It'd have to be.
And you can't just do one side, cause it's not gonna,
Well, it doesn't,
yeah, it's
Work.
not gonna work either way.
no.
Right. Anything else on those? Sister?
I'm sorry.
No, anything else on that? Thoughts?
I don't think so.
That is something we're always gonna keep on Halloween night.
well, that's another option.
Even if
Maybe
it's a
move it to
Like
that
move it
Saturday
what, like
before.
a Saturday prior?
Like if it was the Saturday before, that'd be a lot easier to,
But the only thing with that
kinda
is the
like that.
businesses aren't open, like the
Yeah.
lawyers' offices,
Oh, that's
and they're a huge participating group.
It has to be during the week.
it doesn't matter to me. I just,
Well, and here's, on occasion, it's going to fall
yeah.
on a weekend, like this next year, it's on Thursday. So you're fine there, but
2
that's something
years,
to
it'll be on
consider.
Saturday.
In 2 years, it will be on a
On
Saturday,
a Saturday.
and then a Sunday.
Yeah,
So that is something
so
to
that might be
consider
something you do
ahead.
it a week earlier, or, yeah, I can understand that, or maybe even on a Friday.
That's why I wondered, would it be good to pick a day, like the Friday before Halloween, so your attorneys would be there? I don't know, that's just something to consider.
No, that's a good idea.
Anything else on that, guys?
I think a lot of people get stuck too, and their individual personal churches too, because they're doing it on Halloween. So if it was on a little different date,
yeah.
that would free up a lot of people. Me in particular.
I think a lot of the churches do that more on a Saturday instead of
Yeah.
during the week, though.
Right.
Just a thought.
Yeah, okay. We could
I
definitely
felt
look at
like
that.
this year there was 87 events for 2 weeks. Like, I mean, there was something Halloween every night for,
Yeah,
Yeah,
there are
really.
more, it's because there are more and more events for Halloween.
yeah,
So I don't think it's gonna get less crowded, the calendar, I think it's gonna get more.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So,
And the ones for, like, going back to the egg hunt, we always do it a week prior.
Yeah.
Because the week of is just, it's too much.
when people
you know.
travel,
Yeah.
A lot of people are out of town, yeah.
that's right.
So that might be something we need to look at for Halloween as well.
Okay.
Absolutely. The only thing that I did not add on here, and this was just a thought, we do need to select who else is going to be a signer on the checking account. Because right now it's just Anthony and me, but we need a third. And we held off from last week so that or the majority could be here so that we could elect somebody to do that. And once we have the minutes, then I can submit that to the bank and get that going.
Who was it?
Well, would it be appropriate maybe to ask one of the councilmen who sit on this committee to do it? Because even as we change, they shouldn't as often. What are your thoughts?
I don't know.
Is it easier on y'all the way, I mean, cause first of all, it was me, you, and Sean, and we're all like a block away from each other.
Close.
Yeah.
You know, it's just right
Geographically.
across the street, you know, if you need something signed.
That's what I was gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That works.
she walks from office every day and she's just across the street.
Do you
Or,
want it?
Monday?
Do you wanna do it?
I'm already on there.
He's already on it. The
Oh,
only
you said that.
Yes, ma'am.
You're down here.
I'm not
But
down
she's
here.
not downtown.
Oh, that's right, you're
Yeah.
teaching
Yeah.
now.
Yep.
Bradley.
Brad,
It's on you.
Come on, Brad.
I'm not always there either.
You're not.
It's
I'm
not my
always
primary-
here and I'm 5 minutes away.
And
So
I'm
if
like
you
you.
need another signer, that's fine.
Okay.
I'm saying it for y'all's purpose too, where you're not
Yeah.
driving around town trying to find a signature, you know?
You're so close. You're probably our second anyway.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just we have to have that third in case.
Yes,
Just in
ma'am.
case.
In
Yeah.
case. So
Yeah.
if Craig's willing, then that works.
We need to make a motion, I'm sure, and
Yes.
have a second. So if someone will make a motion?
I'll make the
Motion. Go ahead.
I'll make this. Did you motion or second?
Motion, second?
Second.
So there's
yep.
a motion on the floor and has been seconded. All in favor of adding Craig to the signature card?
If this is for the minutes, the motion needs to be to add Raymond Stoker because Craig doesn't really exist.
Okay, thank you for that correction. You're right. To add Raymond
Raymond.
Stoker to the signature card,
Who's
say
ready?
aye.
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 Any opposed? Same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
I understand. I'm Martha.
I wouldn't even thought about it.
Yeah.
That's why I thought, what's he interrupting for? He just said he would do
I
it.
was about to say.
He was like,
Did he change
"What?"
his
They
mind
thought you were
already?
backing out.
Yeah, I'm just like, Craig,
Seems
shut
like
up. We're just
psych.
trying to do this.
That was funny.
Yeah.
I'm like, I completely understand. I'm Martha.
Uh-huh.
Most
Well, it
people
just
don't know
didn't
Martha,
dawn
but
on
I'm
me.
Martha.
Well, just, yeah, didn't dawn on me. Okay, questions or comments regarding future agenda items? Do we need anything? Does anybody think of anything that we've forgotten or needs to be added? Or any comments on previous? Okay, looks like our next meeting is January 9th at 11. a.m. Is there a